I'm Mike Davey with Energy Efficient Investments, and I have with me James Harrington from New England Air, Jonathan Brush from EEI, Chris Clariti from Control Technologies, Jerry Prue from the Bennington School Department, and Brad DeBoer from Efficiency Vermont. This is the team that put together, designed, and built the $4 million energy and facility upgrade improvement that was passed by the voters of the Bennington district 2 years ago in March. The project is just completed, and we wanted to take this opportunity to bring the viewers on a tour of some of the improvements that were done throughout the school. We're at Bennington Elementary, and all three schools in the district at the elementary school level had similar improvements done. In the room that I'm standing, which is a first floor classroom, we have new ceiling mounted radiation heat, high efficiency glass windows, and LED lighting. These improvements were all designed to modernize the building, make it more energy efficient, and also have better controls. So this building was previously heated entirely with steam, and that steam was brought to the buildings through unit ventilators, which are on the outside wall. Temperatures based on the meters we put in range from 80 to 86 degrees sometimes during the school day, and they would pretty much cool off at night, then heat up again in the morning. So when the school district selected EEI to do the project, one of the main goals was to make this building more energy efficient and also more comfortable for the faculty and staff. So we put in a digital control system. There are thermostats throughout the building, and allow each room to be programmed from the central office via computer. Temperatures basically have pinpoint control with valves on both the radiators and on the air that's coming in. And we also removed all the 1950s unit ventilators and controls that were in this school and put in new rooftop units with digital controls and new ductwork throughout the entire space. Some of the design challenges were this building was built in the 1950s. It's all concrete, so there wasn't ductwork existing. We had to route ductwork through the ceilings and into the classroom. And so EEI teamed up with New England Air to design build this project. Do you want, James, some of the challenges that you dealt with in designing this project?
Sure. Yeah, definitely a lot of the challenges that we had here. The old designs didn't really incorporate ceiling plenums to get ductwork routed through the space. In addition, sprinkler piping was added in a few years ago to upgrade the code, so there's a lot of coordination issues with fire sprinkler, electrical, and ductwork. So it took a little bit of extra effort to get things routed through the structure. And obviously, one of the things that we had to do is supply fresh air to each classroom to meet code standards. So in each classroom, we have a supply air with a reheat coil in there to make sure the temperature in the space doesn't drop because of the outside air, and then return air. And each system exchanges air to the room and draws air out and it takes it back to a unit on the roof where we have a ventilator that reclaims the heat off the exhaust airstream, so it's a little bit more energy efficient than rather using straight heat. So each area has its own outside air heat recovery unit. It's broken up in different zones with reheat for each zone, and throughout the building we had to change from steam piping to hydronic piping. So also there's segments of the areas where there's new piping throughout the facilities that's much more efficient with insulation on the pipe. The old piping system more or less didn't have insulation on it, so that's one of the things that we wanted to make sure that we incorporated in our design was the code standards for piping insulation and ductwork insulation. In addition, the steam boilers that were here were replaced with condensing gas boilers. Previously we had oil boilers for the steam, so we have a whole new fuel system here which is a lot more efficient, a lot more cleaner. So the boilers that we have down in the boiler room, there's two boilers that will modulate to heat the water, to heat the radiation in the building, fin tube radiation in the building, that's in the other wing, and reheat coils. So everything's kind of linked around heat recovery and condensing boilers. We didn't add any cooling in here because the system doesn't need it during the winter time, so it's more or less just a ventilation and heating system.
these boilers have efficiencies of over 95%. So previously the boiler heating plant was maximum efficiency on a good day would be about 82%. We've designed a system with the digital controls that will allow it to get up to 97%. So the fuel usage will be significantly less throughout the year. And also propane has been a more cost-effective fuel for large customers for the last several years. So by switching from oil and going to a boiler that can reach efficiencies of over 95%, there's going to be a significant energy reduction throughout the facility. One of our partners that we turned to work with on this process was Efficiency Vermont. Efficiency Vermont has several programs designed to reduce building costs through better controls, LED lighting, and ventilation as well. And Brad, would you mind just giving a little insight into some of those programs?
My name is Brad DeBoer. I'm an energy consultant with Efficiency Vermont. I've been working with Mike Davey and the rest of the team here on this efficiency project on the 3 elementary schools. Efficiency Vermont is a statewide energy efficiency utility, and we work with both residential and commercial and industrial customers throughout the state to help them conserve energy. Not only do we offer technical assistance to our design and implementation partners as well as the customers, but we also offer financial assistance to help defray some of the costs of the efficiency improvements that are being made. One thing I would like to highlight, in addition to the overall efficiency improvements that are being made here, the students and the staff here at the schools should also witness improved conditions in the space, reduced noise from the new ventilation equipment compared to the old equipment, more consistent temperatures, and hopefully cleaner air as well. So it's a multi-point win here for the organization.
One of the biggest challenges in undertaking this project for EEI and all of the contractors involved was this was a very intense amount of work that had to be done in essentially 9 weeks. So school got out in the end of June and teachers were back in the end of August. So doing $4 million worth of work in such a short time period required a ton of planning. So we had weekly meetings with Jerry Prue, the facility director member, and all his staff to coordinate access to areas and come up with a plan that would allow us to get this much work done in such a short amount of time. Really, the Bennington schools have not had any major HVAC improvements since the 1950s. So we were dealing with almost all original equipment that had to be taken out and brought up to code in just such a short period of time. So one of the things that we did was team up with New England Air and brought in as many ductwork, plumbers, and gas fitters that we could find in the state of Vermont. I think we ended up with more than 55 people just working on this project per day throughout most of the summer. What also was hurt the project a little bit is there was a lot of other projects also going on throughout southern Vermont, so the contractor base was very narrow, and we ended up having to pull people all the way from northern Vermont to southern New Hampshire to be able to get this project done in this period of time. My staff, led by Jonathan Brush and Eric Sandberg, worked pretty much round the clock for that entire summer. They were here. The job sites were open 7 days a week, and we just, even working that many hours with that many people, we just were able to get it done. So it really was a tremendous effort, and we did all get to enjoy Bennington because most of us weren't residents of the town, so we spent a lot of time here, got to know a lot of the residents. Every restaurant, I think, benefited from this project. They seemed to all be full of our workers, and so it was really a great project. One of our biggest success stories as a company, and I think this is going to be a renovation that'll serve this building well into the future. Before the board decided to enter into this performance contract with EEI, they did a detailed study because this was a major investment on the behalf of the voters of the district. And what the school board determined was that these buildings have served the district since about the 1950s. And they really are they're part of the fabric of the community, and they're part of the long-term plans going forward. So before they decided to do such a comprehensive project, they looked at, are these long-term buildings? And when they decided yes, they said we really need to bring them up to code, put in the best systems possible. We came to them with 2 or 3 options. Option 1 would just be new controls, new boilers, and leaving the old ventilation equipment. And the board decided, I think unanimously, that we should do essentially a 50-year project, do something that'll take us well into the next 50 years, and put in the current code systems, not try and put Band-Aids on the existing equipment. And that's how we winded up with this comprehensive project. And I think we'd like to just show you the boiler room and some of the other work that was done, and move forward. So thank you very much. So this is the boiler room. This was primarily a steam building, so we had to add pumps to move hot water around, and we put in these 2, I think they're 1.5 million BTU high efficiency Wiesmann boilers. These are top of the line, high efficiency, high mass boilers. We did a detailed research to find the most energy efficient boiler and controls package available. So this particular package uses a lot less pumping energy than some of the other systems. And again, all this work was completed this summer. If you were down here last summer, this was a steam boiler room. Temperatures were about 120 degrees. And the classrooms up above, you could literally melt candy bars during the winter because it was so hot from this steam plant down here. We reused some of the steam tunnels, which you can see going out through there, to bring the new hot water pipe through. Actually, these tunnels go all the way underneath the hallway to the gym wing, so it's kind of a cool behind the scenes portion of the project. And Control Technologies was instrumental in helping us put together a controls, energy efficient controls platform for this project. We selected them for many reasons. One is they currently do the control systems at Mount Anthony as well as the middle school, and now we have the same platform throughout all the schools in the town of Bennington. Chris Claridi with Control Technologies was the project manager and engineer, and he's going to give a little bit of information about that system.
Hi, I'm Chris Claridi from Control Technologies. How you doing? Mike Davey brought us in here. This was all pneumatic controls basically before we came on board. The building was essentially controlled through air thermostats. So we put in an open backnet system. We integrated to the Wiesmann boilers, integrated to a rooftop. We now modulate all the control valves and the pumps to give them a precise temperature control in each room, where before they didn't have anything anywhere near close to that. So one of the control sequences we put in was to actually vary the speed of the pumps based on the demand of the building. So as the valves close down, the pumps will relax, pump less, which thus saves energy through both BTUs and through, fuel BTUs, and also through electricity. The ERVs that James spoke of earlier, we put CO2 sensors on those so we can vary how fast the fans run to control the amount of outdoor air coming into the building, to keep both the kids and the student and the teachers, keep them well ventilated but without adding too much cost to the building. We also provided a complete graphic package so that Jerry, who had absolutely no visibility before into the system, can now see floor plans of the entire building, temperatures in every classroom. He can have an app on his phone where he can look up whatever he wants to look up. It helps both for trouble calls when something does go wrong, and also just to make sure that the building is running the way it should be. Can give a quick overview every morning if he wants to, take a look at it, and go about the rest of his day knowing that the building is operating the way it should.